Welcome to I Heart Ladies Who Hustle, a show and tell for new music releases between me and 5 other amazing songwriters. I see we have some really amazing friends tuning in. First, I want to say hi to Dave Sauer, who also has a song out today that y'all should go listen to. It's called Nerdwax. It's on Spotify and all the things. So support Dave because he supports all of us and he's amazing. And his dog Iggy is just as amazing. Cute. He's adorable. He's wonderful. Hi, Bailey. Hi, Dillsdales. Hi, Sally. Hi, everybody. So this show is going to be a little bit different than the other live stream variety shows I've been doing. This is more of a curated night of lady magicfulness. That's a new word. Featuring like me and 5 other amazing, hardworking, hustling friends. And one thing about being in this music scene and music community is that like we're all working hard, but we're all like supporting each other, chatting each other up, and just going through the whole journey together. So this is a moment to like showcase the things that we've been working on this year and, you know, just the different stories that are behind them and everything. So I want to welcome Thaiss, Warkentine, Junatime, Malila from Little Tree, Katie Joe. You know, I said I wasn't going to do a rapid fire intro, but so it happened. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. How are you? You look amazing.
Doing good.
Yeah. Woo! Feels great.
So admire these wonderful ladies for a moment. And Goethe, bonus lady. And the way the night is going to work out is we're going to one by one show our videos and then interview each other. So I won't always be the interviewer. Sometimes I'll be the interviewee, and then we'll have a little roundtable at the end. So I'm going to say bye for now, ladies, except Ellen Warkentine. You're up first. So goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Hello.
Hello. I thought you said we were going to interview each Heather.
Yeah.
Heather, because there's only one Heather. One and only.
Each Heather.
Each Heather. Just all Heather. Each Heather. Yeah.
So Ellen, what do you have for us today? What do you have to present? Tell us all about your magical, wonderful project.
All right. Hold on. I'm going to take all 10 minutes finding the filter. Okay, here it is.
Oh.
So it's ear flowers. It's a bouquet of flowers for your ears. It's a precious little collection of tunes, melodies. And my good friend Danielle Heitmuller created the collage animations. So each tune has an accompanying ear ephemera box.
Ear ephemera.
Ear ephemera. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're about to watch.
Okay, great. And this is one song from an entire album of beautiful visual delights.
Mm-hmm.
So yes. Here is here.
It's here.
Most of my life I'm finding I slip in and out of moments, waiting for my ventriloquist, always thinking I need somewhere to press my lips. I've seen the ones with short hair, brimming with confidence, who sway and grace with new limbs, dance with all the 7 sins. I'm firmly in my time here, and I am clear, oh I am clear, you remind me of the sun. You remind me of the stars, you remind me of the sun. Sometimes I am compressed, and sometimes high resolution, but here's here. And love, I know you're calling me. And here's here. And love, I know you're calling me. Oh, I know I've seen you. Can I stay and grieve till I may never understand? But I can listen and I mean to walk with you and hold you. In dreams that may unfold in you. Oh, courage, can we change? Dance with shadows and reveal truth. And I've seen the ones with desperate hearts, not knowing where to start or stand. I am a man. Oh, can you see what keeps us apart? I'm firmly in my time here, and I am clear, oh, I am clear. You remind me of the sun. You remind me of the stars. You remind me of the sun. Sometimes I am compressed, and sometimes high resolution, but here's here. And love, I know you're calling me. Here's here. And love, I know you're calling me. You're calling me.
So dreamy.
Thank you. I'm going to get very distracted by this conversation that's happening about soup right now.
Soup's on.
We're going to stay focused. Soup's on. Serving of music. Scoop of music.
Yeah. So the first thing to me that stands out about this beautiful video is the collage animation by Danielle Heitmuller. And how did you get connected with her, and what was your process like working with her on this?
Through Zachary Bernstein, and we
Hey!
we worked on Don't Do Anything, This Is Happening, and I met her when I first moved out to LA. Don't tell anyone, I'm still in Long Beach, but yeah, so that's where we met, and I thought I was going to do the collage animations myself, and that was really overambitious, and I kind of partially did them, and then I was like, let's consult a professional. And yeah, so we worked together, and I kind of gave her the concept of each song having a flower that represented its mood, and to include that in addition to just coming out on Valentine's Day, the vibe of a vintage Valentine, just a really sweet, trying to have like a sweet and uncomplicated little gift to the world. That was the intention. So sweet.
So the flower meanings, I think I saw a post about it going to more like Edwardian, like Victorian flowers. Like, so tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's a fun book called The Language of Flowers, and there's a couple versions of it, and there's more about like Victorian florography, but each flower has a message. And in that one, you will find dog rose, which represents pleasure and pain, and hawthorn, which represents hope. So if you travel to the YouTube, you'll see all the hidden meanings within the collage animations, and just trying to find the bouquet that represented the feeling of each song.
And what's your YouTube, Ellen?
See, I'm trying to get enough people that I can name it in an accessible way. But if you, I think there's a link to, I don't know, I could put it in the chat or something like that.
Oh wait, I'll find it. I got it. I got you.
Yeah.
Real time. Here we go. Oh wait,
Thanks.
it's in the link tree. It'll come up. It'll come up.
Send a link tree.
But
Yeah.
Ellen will be able to more search friendly named her YouTube channel if she can get how many more subscribers?
Like maybe 5, 7, something really close to that number. I think I have
I'm
like
sure.
93. 7. I need 7 more people.
So do we have 7 lucky people that will follow Ellen on YouTube tonight? I hope so.
Yeah, I'm hustling.
And then going back to the beautiful music, tell me a little bit about, so this record is songs that you recorded at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who did you collaborate with and who do we hear on this record?
Yeah, good question. James Kennedy recorded and engineered in our living room, and right before he moved away, before the pandemic hit. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Monet. So right before the pandemic hit, we recorded 8 songs, and then throughout the year, like I thought I was just gonna like put them out last year in February, but then you said something wise about it, like it being quick or good, or just taking the time to let them marinate. And all these woodwinds ended up finding their way on it, and a little more attention to the vocals, and just learning a little more about recording, and very much bedroom recordings. And it was shout out to Chris Schlarb, who is like miracle worker at Big Ego Studios, and like kind of going like, yeah, he was like, don't record at home. And these songs are like, they were like kind of clearing out the closet, and it feels good to have them fly away. And yeah, there's some nice little questions too. Oh, I love woodwinds too. Bass clarinet, and then Chris, which Chris for 600? Chris Lyles of Panther Heart, my favorite. He added harp on the first track and the last track.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So how many songs does this album have for people to check out?
There are 8 songs, and Lady Dillsdale was asking what inspired the song. And yeah, they are all about love, and they're all about the 8 kinds of love that the Greeks made categories for love. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to understand this love thing. And if I put everything in a category and analyze it, then I'm sure I'll understand it by the time the album's out. And I do. I've mastered it.
You've mastered love. Here it is.
Yeah. So after you listen to the album, you too will understand love at its core. All 8 kinds. But the last one is like a philautia, which is self-love. Yeah. But it's, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Here is Here. It's an invitation to the moment, and to stand in love, and to choose love, and to choose to stand in love. Aspirationally, but yeah, to be present. And yeah, that's what that last one was about. But all of them are, thanks, subscriber. But all of them are, I mean, a lot of them were written in my 20s and were kind of my secret, shameful songs. And I'm just trying to get them out. And
well, I don't think they should be secret or shameful any longer.
They're out. They're out of the closet.
I feel like since we've all been like home a lot too, there's been a lot of cleaning out happening in general. Like there's like the Good Shit Long Beach page where we can like cast stuff out and have people who need them take them, and like, it's easy to collect things and hang on to them because they're like, they have this potential, and they're these secret treasures that we have in our closet. Like I have so many like things that I want to make into other things that end up in little piles around places, and like unfinished songs can feel like that, and so once you like dust them off and like put them in their proper light, they're actually very magical and wonderful. And it's all about like matchmaking and finding the right ears. for your beautiful flowers. So
yeah, exactly. And it's like the vintage box that's, collecting dust and dusted off. Yeah, the ephemera. So yeah. Well, should we transition? Any more questions? Well, I think it's time to switch gears and talk about your video. So, would you like to introduce Rainbow Connection for us, Allie? Tell us a little bit about it.
Why, yes, I do. As a matter of fact.
Ooh.
So this is a song, another shout out to Chris Schlarb at Big Ego Studio. Cannot say enough how much I love working with Chris and how he can really, just dive into your universe and make it flourish in like the most tasteful way. And, at the beginning of the pandemic, there was this sense of uncertainty and we were all watching the numbers go up, and it was just kind of a really wild time, and we were all at home, and I got this idea to record Rainbow Connection, because everyone was putting rainbows in their windows. And then around the same time, Scott Jones from We Love Long Beach hit me up and asked me if I would help organize a singing trolley to go around the neighborhoods of Long Beach to bring concerts to neighborhoods in a social distance safe way. And this is a combination of those two projects. So without over explaining it, here's the video.
Yes.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. Rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it, but I know they're wrong. Wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish will be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed him. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing and keeps us stargazing? What do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell. We know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep, and have you heard voices? I heard them calling my name. Are these the sweet songs that called the young sailors? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Da, 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 da.
So beautiful. Oh, Long Beach.
I know.
Treasure of Long Beach. Oh my goodness. So you were saying that you chose the song because people were putting up rainbows. And can you tell us a little bit about the process of when you decided to record and what that was like when you were going back into the studio at the beginning?
Yeah, it was like you know, stuff was sorry, there's a little echo on my computer. Sorry. So it was like the first time going back in the studio after stuff was closed down, and there was like this air of, is this okay? Like, are we allowed? Like, and Chris was super great about, you know, everybody wore masks except for like, you know, me and George live in the same household, so we took our masks off and like in the same room, just because there are some shots where we're not wearing masks, you know. But you know, Chris really led. We asked each other questions and tried to figure it out, and we did a more minimal setup, you know, and bringing in John Miranda to play drums was super great too. And like, it's funny, I was thinking about this and now this is all just sputtering out, but that's okay. But I really wanted to like give something peaceful and joyful to kind of take you out of like the doom scroll and everything. And, you know, I had to like learn the song, and it was a little harder than it was going to be. That key change is very tricky vocally, and like it's super hard. And we really took the time it needed to get it right in the studio. And like George came in, he played bass and pedal steel, and I'm really thankful for him for a million reasons because he's the best. And you know, the whole thing, we just like shot it in an afternoon and recorded it, and then Chris mixed it on his own because we were limiting how much time we would interact, and it just came out absolutely beautiful. And then with the trolley, and Matt Brevin from Studio Long Beach filmed it in the studio too. And then when we were on the trolley, we had actually done another day of shooting on the trolley, but the shots didn't quite come out right, and I was wearing a different outfit. So I got another chance to play the trolley, and I was like, okay, let's do it again. But Matt wasn't available. So I asked Isaac Svensson from Seven Sun Media to shoot that day. And, you know, there was this feeling when I was on the trolley, especially the first time, where we were on it and things were really uncertain, and everything kind of just happened in slow-mo. And there was just like me casting out my music to the world and a couple ears around to listen and like feel that moment. And, you know, playing on the back of a trolley is it's a very bumpy ride, you know, and it's not perfect, but there's something super carefree about it, and feeling like the air on your face when, you know, we've all been inside so long. And yeah, and then I kind of like put it on hold for a little bit because the moment kind of came and went, because, you know, it shifted from, you know, rainbows in our windows and social distance stuff to like, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement being more at the forefront, and a lot of, you know, it wasn't problems that Hearts and Rainbows were going to solve, you know, and like, I felt like it was more of a time for other voices to be at the forefront. So I decided to kind of sit on the project for a little bit, and I kept just thinking about it. And it was just that thing that was always at the back of my head, this unfinished thing that I felt like I hadn't gotten it done in time to get it in the right moment, and the moment had passed. But it was this beautiful thing. And then over the last month and a half or so, like the vaccines have been rolling out, and my dad got his vaccine and my grandparents got their vaccine, and like more and more of the vulnerable population is getting vaccinated, and there's this sense of hope now, you know, and stuff is slowly starting to open back up. And so I thought it was time. And Matt Bremen still had all of the footage that we shot, and that's when I decided to make the little miniatures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Here's
I
the
love
start
that.
of the show right here. He's like a Mr. Toad's Wild Ride kind of trolley. You know?
Yeah. I love just thinking about like it is perfect timing because it's like the anniversary almost of when we went on lockdown. And there's so much hope, and there's like the childlike kind of Mr. Rogers kind of the trolley and but like, yeah, just bringing that. I mean, I don't know of any other city that has done that. Do you think it'll come back? Is there any talk of another singing trolley?
You know, the singing trolley was organized by We Love Long Beach, and each one was sponsored by someone in the neighborhood. And I guess it just depends on the demand and who wants to see it happen and who wants to help sponsor it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we should get moving into the next video. So, Ellen, I'm going to say goodbye for now, but you'll be back.
I'll be back.
I love you.
Bye.
All right. And then I'm going to bring Malila on. Hi, Malila.
Hi, what's up?
Hey. So I hear you have some new music.
I do. You know, it's exciting. It's music that it's a style that I've never really done before. And I feel like it also is super unique because it combines a couple different styles. So I just didn't really want to try and make it one thing. I just wanted it to go where it was going to go. So that's it.
Yeah. All right. And then so the band is Little Tree. The EP is the Little Tree EP. And this song is No Justice, No Peace, right?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and play the video, and then we'll have a little chat.
Sure.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. How many people have been out here since the beginning, since day one or close to it? Anyone? 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 You are convincing, not me. I can't talk to your parents. I can't talk to your grandparents. At some point, you gotta be the voice for the black people in your household. We do not stand against the police. We stand against police brutality. That is why we gather here today, respectfully and peacefully, to remember Brother George Floyd. We gather here today, angrily yet peacefully, to remember Brother Ahmaud Arbery. We gather here today, radically yet still very peacefully, to remember Sister Breonna Taylor. George Floyd!
That was beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I've only watched through like a couple times, so it was
Mhm. How do you feel?
good. A lot of that footage was used from when Nick and I went to the protests here in Long Beach. So you'll see some brief appearances of people we know: Anne Louise, Mitch, Nick. And then I collaborated on the video with one of my friends, Paula June Cantu of Cantu Media. And some of that footage is from her as well. Some of those were up in LA. Mine were taken here in Long Beach. And similarly, the samples were also from the videos, with the exception of the last little bit that you hear that was actually taken from a protest in Atlanta. So the audio I sourced was from the movement and the protests, and so was the video. So
that's so interesting. When I heard it, when I watched it, when we were preparing for this, I don't know. I hadn't assumed that the chanting was actually from the videos that you were at, but that's so amazing. And so, I really love that our videos went next to each other because, it's kind of like the order of when we were inspired and created our things, where it's like, I'm passing the baton to you. And, I think you really beautifully captured that moment. And do you want to describe what it was like being in those protests for, people who couldn't make it or didn't feel comfortable leaving their homes at that time, or, what was going in your heart and in your mind during that time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I distinctively remember that Nick and I were in disagreement of whether or not to attend at first, just because we were so unsure of, this state of the world with the pandemic and everything. We really hadn't left our apartment except for to go running or to the store for like, what was that, 3 months? So, and then it was like a huge crowd. So it was quite it was just different than any other time that I've attended a public gathering like that, because there was such that added heaviness of the pandemic. And that was, when was that? June? So late May. So that was really, it feels like eons ago, honestly, just because this whole thing has been so difficult for everyone. And, the heaviness of, this movement and this continuation of the institutional racism that we see in this country is so disheartening at times that I just feel like it's part of my life to, I just can't not do anything, like I have to be doing something proactive, whether that be attending an event, making music, which is like kind of my go-to outlet for things, or, even teaching and how I myself interact with the world. So, it really, it was such an eye-opening experience too, because I feel like the police presence was, it was scary, and it just opened my eyes to a lot of different perspectives as well that are different than mine. So.
And so I know it's in the video, and I think we talked about it before we introed it, but just to remind everyone, if you download the Little Tree EP, the proceeds go towards the Black Lives Matter movement, which is super great and important. And today is also Bandcamp Friday. So Bandcamp doesn't take any fees, and it supports artists, and in this case supports the Black Lives Matter movement. And let's switch. Well, what are some ways, because I know this is something that I've felt is like this sort of paralysis of what to do. What are some things that people can do to support the Black Lives Matter movement? Little, big, in between, like what are some actions that people can take even now?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that people can do. It just depends on where you are in your life and how things are rolling. Obviously back then it was super questionable to be going out, breaking your quarantine, because safety was and still is a super big priority for a lot of people. So, attending events for sure. But the biggest thing is donating, I feel like, and writing letters and calling your representatives and saying you need to take a stand for marginalized people in this country, for African Americans, for Native Americans, for just anybody that doesn't fit in, quote unquote, to the way this country was built, which was by white people and for white people. And so I think raising your voice as well, if you find yourself in a teaching position, I myself am, and I feel that every educator and every artist has the opportunity to raise awareness about these things and talk about these things in an open way. If that's what they want to do, it's definitely like it takes, like you have to be in the right headspace, of course. And I'm not feeling like being that person every single day of my life, for sure. But I've had plenty of opportunities at my new job to be able to say these things and say we need to be more active about not erasing the history of this country and the struggles that so many people went through and our ancestors sacrificed and what, you know, people go through today. So if you're an educator and artist, consider that, even if it's just doing a class or doing a seminar or writing one song, or I don't know. So I feel like you just have to get creative too. Like, what are you good at as a person? I'm not a people person. This is like super uncomfortable for me at times, especially because it's the internet. So I'm like, you know, I gravitate towards music and creating because that's where I feel most at home. But education has really risen as that venue, that opportunity to continue that. So yeah, donating, talking, calling, making music, I guess.
Yeah, and
You know,
finding and just talking about it. Just talking about it and finding other people who feel the same way so you can make these movements together, you know, and collaborate on events and, you know, find ways to bring the message forward, you know. And there's also a ton of resources out there if you're not sure, like, who are your Congress people and representatives to call. You know, there's a ton of, you could type that in and it'll come right up and then you'll have a number to call. But yeah, I was super moved by your whole piece. I think it was really great. And I also want to talk a little bit about the music behind it, you know? And so,
right.
So I know we use samples from the protests, and who are your other musical collaborators and what did they contribute? And what was it like working with them?
Well, it was fun because most of them I used to play with when we were, you know, doing gigs and stuff. So of course, Nick played bass on all 4 songs. This particular track features our favorite Dominic Furiani. So I know that several people tonight and in the community have had the opportunity to play with Dominic. He's great.
Great.
Yeah, and then my friend Zhu Young Cooper from Seattle, he did the drums as well. And he was actually, I've never collaborated with him before, but he's also a hip hop artist and producer and super inspiring to me because it's something I've never really done before but have wanted to. So it was cool, just making it, recording it, and then sending it, saying, hey, just, you know, kind of do whatever you want. I trust you. You're a great musician. This is the vibe. I was just going to create like a vibe, you know, like not a firm structure, like a sonata that I would play on the piano, you know? So, yeah.
That's so great. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we welcome on our next guest?
I mean, just maybe go listen. It's kind of politically charged, intentionally and unintentionally. So that's just fair warning going into the rest of the EP. But yeah, I guess I'm good.
All right.
Talked a lot.
No, you did great. Don't worry. Thank you so much for sharing your collaboration. I'm gonna see myself out, and then you can welcome on our next guest.
Sure thing. Bye.
Bye. Oh, whoops.
I'm really excited about this next artist and musician that I get to introduce to you. She's a huge inspiration to me. I just am always in awe every time I see her perform. And she's got a wonderful piece of music for us tonight. So without further ado, let's welcome Anne-Louise. Hello. Hello, my sweetie. Oh, you're on mute, my dear.
Hey,
Hey.
thank you for that lovely intro. And it's Maya here, and there she goes. All right. All right.
Else.
Exactly. Someone else's lap. All right. Well, thank you for having me, and I'm super excited to be here. And yeah, and Malila, I just want to say I love your piece too, and you really did a wonderful job capturing the energy and the spirit of those protests. And yes, go to Bandcamp and download that EP. Do it, everyone.
Well, I think that if you want to introduce your piece to us, tell us a little bit about it, and we get to listen.
Yeah. All right. So this song is called Ebb and Flow, Ebb and Flow, and it's a very personal song. It was about a particular moment in my life when I was kind of struggling with the feeling of like the desperation of like wanting to be forgiven for something, and mixed with the feeling of like succumbing to just like the feeling that you're not going to be forgiven. And hold on one second. Mitch, can you close the door real quick? I hear an echo. I'm like getting lost in my own voice. But yeah, so that's basically what the song itself is about. And it's a part of a larger album that will be coming out in a little while. But yeah, we can go ahead and watch the video.
Throughout this body, desperately hoping to know that I'm a good person.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm mystified. It's so beautiful. What a beautiful video. And
Thank you.
it's nice to see a familiar face. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your dancer?
Yeah, so my dancer, her name is Madison Clark, and she went to Cal State Long Beach. And I actually met her not at the school because I went there as well, and we went there as well. But I met her through her boyfriend Zach, and he is an amazing musician himself. And yeah, so I was really lucky to know her and to get in touch with her, and yeah, she just brought such a assuredness to the video making process, and she had some wonderful ideas to incorporate as well. So and going into it, I was just like, I know that this video is just going to work because she's involved, and I was very thankful that she was available.
Yeah, I just feel like she contributed so much to what you just described to us before we watched what the song is about, and it really helped emote that to us visually as well as the piece. So I enjoyed that a lot. What I'm super curious about is I've heard you rock out on stage and sing and play guitar, and here you're using woodwinds here. This is a new sound, at least to me. Can you tell us about like why you chose the specific instruments and how that process was when you were recording?
Sure. Yeah, definitely, woodwinds and that type of percussion is not normally what I, play with or anything like that. But I've always loved the sound. And it was really, when I was in pre-production for the album at Big Ego, as another Big Ego album, big shout out to Chris Schlarb. We were collaborating on instrumentation, and he just had this wonderful idea of having a clarinet trio and a percussion trio, and kind of the way that the album worked out was that there's 8 songs on the album, and about half of them are the instrumentation that you just mentioned, like electric guitar, acoustic guitar, drums, bass, some keys in there. But then the other half is the woodwinds trio and the percussion. So it was really that collaborative force between the two of us that brought that out. And yeah, it just worked so well. I was super happy, particularly with that one, because it sounds so beautifully orchestrated. And I see a lot of people in the chat saying like the woodwinds, and another huge shout out to Alex Sadnick for making the actual arrangements. His arrangements for this song and a few others on the album just made them blossom, and I could not be happier with those.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous texture you have, and I was just loving the arrangement that you have. I feel like it highlights your lyrics. It lets the words kind of come out, and it draws attention to them, but it adds such an amazing texture and I guess color to it. So
thank you.
Yeah, what I've been, I guess, a slightly kind of heavier question is, I feel like there was a theme of anxiety and how one feels and views oneself in relation to their interpersonal relationships. And I'm just wondering, like, I guess, what is your relationship to that in particular, and do you have ways that you work through that? How do you overcome that and break through that that pain that we all experience at times?
Wow, that's a phenomenal question. So, of course, we all feel a heaviness at times, and the moment in question from writing this particular song was a kind of a darkness that was brought because of something that like I had done or like was associated with, and kind of like feeling trapped by what your past had for you, you know, and in realizing that like it's not like an existential thing, it's something that you are tied to that is bringing you down. And what got me through that was a lot of, you know, a lot of meditation and a lot of connecting with this inner source of power, where it's just like, you know, at the heart of it, it is going to be okay. Like the world has no choice but to be okay. I mean, like, you know, there are things inside of you that are fighting constantly, just molecularly, and that's so that you can be healthy. And it's just like this huge source of inspiration for me that the universe is just going to even itself out. So just kind of tapping into that level. And I think that that's where you get kind of like where the chorus is, like where it's kind of like this more like levitating feeling of just like I am suspended right now, and you know, I feel dark and I feel a little down about the situation that I'm in, but ultimately like I'm going to pass this, and as long as I can understand that I'm a good person at heart and like actually remember that again, then I'll overcome it. But yeah, it's really hard, and I mean we all have those moments in our lives, and yeah, just trying to connect to that soul of who you really are as a person, and your role in the universe really helps.
That's beautiful, and it's something that I feel like I'm exploring as well in my life, and especially it resonates with me spiritually, coming from Native ancestry. Of we all have this spirit that was given to us, and if you can remain connected to that, that's your kind of your lifeline, and that's your purpose in life. So yeah, thank you for being open and honest with that. It's wonderful.
Of course.
My last question for you is, what other types of themes are you exploring on this album? And are there a lot, or is there a main one, or are there just several?
Yeah. So for the rest of the album, and you know, working on the release right now, I'm very excited about that. But I mean, I personally I like depressing music. Like that's just who I am as a person. If you couldn't tell that about the everything about me. But yeah, I mean, there's some themes that have to do with like, you know, those moments where you're just kind of like stuck in your head a little bit more than normal. But then there's one song that that actually oh man, there's one song that's called oh man, now I'm forgetting. Let Me Entertain You. And that was written before the pandemic, and it's kind of like talking about the kind of like the struggle that a performer might feel when they go up to play a gig at like a bar or something, and it's background music, and that's kind of like that's your role and you know it, you know, and that's what it is. But it's just kind of like I'm doing this every day, or I'm doing this every week, like kind of wears you down sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and I know that you know that, and a lot of musicians kind of feel that struggle. But you know, listening back on that song now that we haven't been able to perform for a year, I'm just like, oh my god, I will sit in a corner and sing my heart out.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get there someday. I actually got my first little vaccine shot, so you know, getting there, hopefully. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the vibe of the whole album.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited to hear the full release once it's out. So go ahead and follow her on social media. We can get that information to you guys if you want to hear that once she releases the full album. I think we're about ready to hear another piece of music. Allie,
Yeah.
we're ready for Katie.
We're ready for Katie. Bye, Malila. Thank you. Mwah. All right. So I have the pleasure of introducing Katie Jo. I got to know Katie, throughout the Long Beach scene, but I also got to know her. We actually signed up for a songwriting workshop, and just seeing her amazing process and all of her wonderful skills in writing. She's a great writer. So I'm very excited to bring upon everybody, Katie Jo. Yay! Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? You're
I'm
vaccinated.
all right.
now.
I'm wonderful that I'm halfway there.
Nice.
But yeah, so we're gonna have your video playing very soon, and I'm excited for that. So can you tell us just a little bit about the project and bring in the video?
Yeah. So the video was released a couple of weeks ago as the first single from the first album that I'm putting out ever. And so I filmed this whole video at my childhood roller rink about a year ago. It was like the last thing I did before COVID shut down. So somehow we were able to film this like large scale video. And it's kind of a song about heartbreak. And so the video captures, childhood heartbreak. And I came to find out is something everyone can relate to. So I hope everyone enjoys it. If you have this experience when you watch the video, if you had a similar experience at a roller rink or like a bowling alley or something as a child, like let me know in the comments, because I have been amused and saddened for everyone that they had their heart broken at a roller rink.
It's always
I don't know where your heart's been, but I know it's not mine. Even if you ain't leaving me, it's just a matter of time. I don't know where your heart's been, but it's sure breaking mine. Even if you ain't leaving me, it's just a matter of time. You looked at me that way before many moons ago. Now you're all caught up in someone else's glow. Love's only burning bright, and you're wondering how could I be so blind? I don't know where your heart's been, but I know it's not mine. Even if you ain't leaving me, it's just a matter of time. I don't know where your heart's been, but it's sure breaking mine. Even if you ain't leaving me, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. I don't know where your heart's been, but it's sure breaking mine. Even if you ain't leaving me, it's just a matter of time. Even if you ain't leaving me, it's just a matter of time.
Yay!
Thank you.
I love that video. It's so well done, and I mean, just by, you know, the comments, it's just like, it's so provoking and just like totally reminds you of your own life. So yeah, I'm so curious. I mean, like what inspired you to make that song?
Well, when I wrote the song, I knew I wanted to write it in the style of like an old Patsy Cline song, just a straightforward heartbreak song. And I think that I can be a very cynical person in relationships or when it comes to interacting in a romantic sense. And so I started to think about all the times in my life that I had felt like, okay, I'm connected with someone, but maybe their attention is elsewhere, or they're just not into it. And when we were recording the song, when I was recording the vocal takes, I was really trying to get kind of into that headspace. And again, thinking about sort of this long list of times when something hasn't felt quite right. And I was like, when was the first time I felt that way? And I just had this like flash of memory back to the roller skating rink where we shot the video. I was like, I remember being at Carousel Skate Center. I remember like doing like, you know, limbo skate or whatever. And then there would be like a couple skate, and, you know, it's dark and like chaotic in there. And like, you're looking at your crush sort of through the fog, and they're usually like skating away with someone else. So that helped me like kind of remember like, oh, this through line with my whole life of feeling that way. And I just had this idea. I was like, I need to recreate this as a music video. And we hadn't even finished recording the song at that point. So I was like, how, like, I'm already thinking about this. I think I walked out of the vocal booth, and Chris, you know, who basically recorded all these songs on this entire live stream, but who used the record at Big Ego, you know, he was there. And I think George was there that day. And I think I walked out of the vocal booth and I started talking about this whole video. And I was like, hey guys, I think I'm gonna do a video at like this roller rink. And they were like, okay, can you just please record this song? But it stuck with me. And it was this idea that I felt so attached to, and I could just, like, the scenes that you see in the video were things that were just kind of flashed in front of my mind that day. And so it was really a trip to find a whole production crew in Wichita, and collaborate with people that sort of understood that. And then it was so wild to then like be in person and watch these scenes being filmed and like watch it come to life in a way. I don't know. I had never had such a clear creative idea in my mind, and then like gotten an entire group of people together to actually like make it come to life. So it was just a really fulfilling project to work on from start to finish, from the start of the recording process of that song to, a year later, then filming this giant video production that I really had like no business like coordinating. So it was really fulfilling, and it was super meaningful to me that we were able to do it in my hometown, and like those child actors were so amazing, and just to have.
I was gonna ask, like, I want to know about the casting. Like, how did that go on?
The casting was me sending people, random strangers, messages on Facebook. In Wichita, and asking if they wanted to be in my video. So a lot of the kids were they do like music, they're involved in musical theater in Wichita. They were all, preteens. So I kind of wanted to find preteens that were kind of awkward, but also, comfortable enough on camera. And I don't think I really realized the scale of what I had committed myself to until I realized we had all these extras, like people were on skates, and I was like, please no one fall down and like injure themselves. Like, not any of the camera crew. Like, it was really, again, like, I feel like sometimes when you have an idea that you're so passionate about, like, it's very scary. And like at many times I like kind of backed away from doing it. It took me a long time to coordinate everything. But sometimes that ignorance, I feel like, is helpful, because you're not, up until that point, I wasn't really thinking about the scale and like logistics involved. I would just kind of started to do it, and it all worked out. So we had this great film crew that filmed it. Justin Carey did all the cinematography, and he shot it on Kodak film. And so he's just an amazing, cinematographer, and worked with him really closely sort of before the process, for the shooting, the shoot day. And then Dre Singer directed it. So they were both involved. I got connected with them through Chris also. So which I'm not surprised by. Anytime you ask Chris, like, hey, I have this idea, like, he knows how to find the right people to do it. So I was not shocked at all when I said, hey, I want to film this video in Wichita. He's like, yeah, I know someone. So
I can list 5. Exactly.
So thank you to Chris for making this whole universe possible. But yeah, so I just kind of coordinated it over probably the course of like 6 months. It took a while to set it up, and then we just went and filmed it, and it was really, really fun. And I feel so lucky and like happy that, we got to do it before the pandemic started.
Yeah. So, man, and you do such a wonderful job of creating that whole dream-like, like flashback kind of vibe. And I mean, I bet that all of your production team probably had that exact same experience. So they could probably, help create it a little bit easier for them. That's so cool. So yeah, I mean, so you mentioned, did you say that this was, you're releasing your first like full album? Like, is that what's coming out? So tell us a little bit more about that.
So this album is called Pawn Shop Queen. It's the first album I put out, and it'll be out April 9th. So been sitting on it for quite a while. We did all the instrumentation back in 2018. And so this song was actually the very first song that we did in the recording session.
Okay.
And and I like, looking back, like, there's just this like through line of like this dreamscape. Like, I feel like, again, this was like, recording the song was like day one of me ever being in a studio. Like, I didn't know what to expect. And, to Chris's credit, he really made me feel comfortable. And we didn't, we had pre-production, but it was really just about kind of getting in there and creating this like dream space. And it was, we had dimmed the lights, and I remember there was like this kind of red glow. And, what I like about this song especially is like George's pedal steel playing. George Madrid did all the pedal steel work, and then David Given did all of the guitar parts. And so I just like remember like I couldn't even really see them in the room, but I just heard these like dreamy sounds like happening, and I'm just trying to keep up. But that really kind of set the tone, I think, for the whole record and the whole production process. So yeah, I'm really excited to finally be releasing all of this music, and just happy to have sort of a body of work out.
Oh yeah, I mean, and you've been playing in the you've been playing in the Long Beach scene for a little while, and like getting to know you a little bit better about like you as a person and your process in the songwriting workshop that we both happened to be in. Like that was so cool, and you just have this wonderful, just your deep voice just is so lush and beautiful, and it just adds so much to that aesthetic. So yeah, dude, I love the video and I can't wait. So you said April 9th is the full album?
Yeah. So I just put out another song this week. And then the title track will be out March 25th. So in a couple weeks. Okay. And then the whole album will be out beginning of April.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Katie.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it. Yeah. I think we're gonna bring on our next guest. So I will say goodbye for now, but love you all. Mwah.
Diane. Okay, I'm so excited. The next person that you're going to hear from is really needs no introduction if you've ever heard her sing, but she is the best singer I know. She taught me how to sing, and she has just amazing songs, and I'm excited for everybody to hear the song that she put out today, which is a collaborative piece with a group called Modus. So I'm very excited to welcome Heather Jean, aka Junatime, to the live stream.
Hey!
Hi, Heather.
Oh man, you got me all hyped up right now. I was just wanting to comment on your commenting of being in the studio at Big Ego and the vibe.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so much great music just simply because the lighting's good, right? It has nothing to do with it's just the good lighting.
I think if you just turn the lights down low enough, you can't like really look at yourself and overthink it.
That's true.
But it is a great space. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the video that we're going to watch and the song? It's released today, right?
Yeah. Today's the first day. The song is called On the Run. It's an upbeat tune, sort of making fun of how even in quarantine, we figure out ways to still be super busy. I actually wrote it just a couple months after COVID hit. And I had a moment where I realized I was sort of shaming myself pretty hard when I wouldn't have a super productive day. And obviously I noticed how unhealthy that was. And I remember seeing some quote on like Instagram saying, all you have to do is be. And I don't know, I really took that in and eventually wrote the lyrics to this tune as sort of a way to escape that that negative feeling of my spinning wheels. So without further ado, here's the tune.
It's been
Oh my God. That just makes me want to rewatch that a bunch of times and like go dance on the bluff. Like,
Good.
like tomorrow morning, I want to go do that.
My main goal, once we decided to get together and actually shoot the video, was to get these guys to dance, and it worked. So there we go.
Yes, mission accomplished. Can you just talk a little bit about the collaboration process? You know, after you wrote the song, at what point did this collaboration with Modus come about? And what were some things you learned, you know, working with another artist to produce a body of work?
Yeah. So it originally came about, I was kind of talking with Gustavo Miranda. He's the keyboard player. He's been working with John Michael Lopez, the guitar player, for a while. They're kind of a synth pop duo in Long Beach. I've always kind of dug their vibe. And I was working on my record, Junatime, at, you guessed it, Big Ego Studios with Chris Larb, and quarantine hit. I had already kind of talked about collabing with Gustavo and kind of more on playing live shows with the Junatime stuff once I was ready to gig around and stuff.
Yeah.
And quarantine hit, and he sent me this Dropbox with a bunch of tracks. He says, "Hey, can you do anything with this stuff? Like, it's kind of been sitting. We don't have any inspiration for it." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll see what I can do. You know, I'm sitting around here trying to find something to do." And this song was called Pop Song in their tracks, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna hit that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's not really my go-to. I tend to like things in a minor key and a little darker, but I was like, this is a good challenge for me to kind of break out of my depressed, sad shell. And the challenges with collabing are obviously you sort of, I was questioning myself in sending them my files and my tracks. Like, I felt more vulnerable than if I were to be doing that in person with them. And I couldn't, like, I just had to send it. Here you go. Hope you like it. And I think what ended up happening was we ended up really liking the songs and the tracks that we made. And that's why we decided to release it, because we weren't sure what was going to happen with it. And but yeah, other than that, it was pretty simple. They're really easygoing guys, and they're pretty accepting and just like, yeah, sounds great. Let's keep going. It was actually super chill working with these guys. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I just love that the song is sort of about releasing control, or necessarily a vision that you have of how you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to behave, and always being productive. And I just love that the end result was this like extremely productive track that's just fun to listen to. It makes you want to dance around and release sort of, you know, the control. Can you talk maybe a little bit about, you know, making, not even just collaborating, but kind of charging forward and continuing to work on projects and adjusting expectations during a pandemic when you said you can't really get together with a lot of people, and the way you envision creating something, you know, ends up looking very different than what you had in mind. You know, how did you push through those thoughts to get to the point of wanting to release this, of having that excitement to still work on music and art at a time when you know, things just do not go as you have planned sometimes?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I apply this to the situation that I apply to my regular life, which is there's a lot of things I can't do, a lot of struggles I have, and that we all have. We all have our individual things that, you know, we just feel like it's only us, but, you know, and I say, what can I do? So I actually took some time learning how to record my vocals better, learning how to mix just a little bit, and learning how to video edit. Like, that whole video was shot with my little camera and, you know, edited by me. And it was definitely a project that every time I do a video or record a song on my own or do anything, I just get a little bit better. And I find a lot of power in learning. And I don't know that it's like something I've learned throughout this whole process is learning is just, there's never anything we can't do. It's just like how some of us may take a little longer to figure it out than other people. But it's given me a lot of hope that, you know, whatever we end up, whatever the situation, we just have to see how we can, you know, sort of adapt.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really wise advice of just not being hung up on perfection, but just consistency and always, yeah, like you said, improving your learning is just a really good reminder as everyone is continuing to figure out, you know, how to do the things I want to do in this kind of new reality. I'm curious, you know, your music, both this collaborative track and your Junatime originals, you know, are very inspired by, you know, they have flavorings of 80s music to them. And I'm curious, you know, what artists inspire you, and then how you approach making music that has an element of nostalgia to it. But how do you personally approach bringing a new flair to that and taking inspiration and turning it into something, you know, unique to your voice?
Well, I kind of live and breathe 80s music, so it's kind of all I know and love. I mean, of course, there's other genres that I associate with. For example, country music. You know, I'm from Texas, and that's the reason I love your project and love singing with you sometimes is like it brings that side of me. But like at my core, for some reason, when I listen to 80s music, it just makes me feel like alive and all the things that you want to feel. And I think that I just sort of breathe that. The artist that I was listening to at the time that I wrote this song in particular, a lot of Kate Bush and a lot of, how do you say their name? Haim? H-A-I-M?
Yeah.
Haim? I don't actually know how to say their name.
I don't know either.
I really like their little pop sound, and I was kind of just vibing them, and they were bringing me a lot of joy in quarantine for some reason. I kind of dug into their stuff, and I was like, they're good. Yeah, but ultimately, I listen to a lot of, you know, 80s stuff, and that's just kind of how that comes about. And I think that we don't try to make a certain thing happen most of the time. It just kind of happens, and we hope that people enjoy it or that they connect, really. And that's kind of all I really want whenever I write a tune is for someone to like feel it and to connect with me, because it's literally a feeling coming out that I'm trying to share and in a lot of ways process myself. So, I mean, that's your songs. You're like one of the best songwriters I know, and I feel your songs, and that's why we love them so much. And I think that that's how I feel about most of the ladies, like, or no, all of the ladies here tonight. Yeah. Sorry. Just like most of, you know, how we feel it all. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it almost kind of doesn't matter what style of music you're playing as long as you're just authentically talking about your experience or your, you know, your emotions, like that comes through. And, you know, you have such a powerful voice already so that it's already coming through, but to pair that with well-crafted songs that have a sound that everyone, you know, already has some sort of memory or association with, I think is really awesome. Can you talk a little bit about the record that you're currently making, the Junatime record? And you know,
obviously inspired by the 80s. Me and Chris and I, it's a wonderful collaboration. I couldn't be happier about it. And we are still working on it, but the process has slowed down with COVID and everything. But we were making really big strides last year, and then we weren't really sure how to go about it. But the music is just, it's the best music I've ever made. And I owe it mostly to him. Some of it's in me, but he brought a lot of it out of me. And that's just like, I can't wait to share that stuff with you guys. And I'm just thankful that I was able to, you know, work on some other stuff now while I have some extra time, while we've been kind of in a slower pace with that. But yeah, I'm stoked to share that. It's very 80s inspired as well, of course. And anyway, thank you for asking me all these questions, Katie. I feel like enough about me. Let's bring back the crew, right?
Yeah, all right. We're going to wrap it up. Bring back the entire gallery.
Woo! Everybody's back. Ooh, Ellen.
Oh my God.
Everyone's on silent. Woo!
All right.
Oh wait, here we are. Party's back. Party's back. Hey.
Thanks to everybody who's been tuning in, by the way. Like, awesome questions, and like, it's just really nice. It's nice to virtually see everyone from Long Beach and the community. And I just miss everybody, but it's just awesome to be able to do this. And thanks to Allie and to Heather for putting this together.
Yeah. Well, I really just wanted to create a night where we could like all be together and dive a little deeper into the stuff that we've been brewing. And for everybody still watching, we have one more collaborative musical surprise reserved for the end. In the meantime, we're going to ask each other a couple questions as a group. And then if anyone in the chat watching now has any questions for any of us or anything you're curious about, chime in the chat and we'll answer some of your questions. So the first question I want to open up to the group is, I know we've touched a little bit on it in some of our conversations, but you know, this year has been a very unique year, as we all know, pandemic, and like we've all had our own unique individual challenges, and through these challenges, we've managed to stay creative and stay creating and found different ways to dive in. What has been like the things that you've been thankful for and that have motivated you to just keep going?
Wow, it's a good question.
About it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things come to mind. I find myself every day being grateful for having a place to live. I mean, just like very things that we take for granted, you know, every day. Having a job for me, just even as difficult as it is sometimes, it's income, you know, being grateful to be able to still make music here. You know, Nick is a musician as well. So I'm happy that there's like, we have this space to create and play, you know, even though, you know, we can't be with you guys as much as we want to. I don't know. That's just kind of where I try to do that daily, you know, remind myself of those things.
Yeah, I'm super thankful for like projects like this and just kind of the stuff we get to do together. That's what keeps me going, because sometimes all you need is just one thing a week to look forward to, you know, that conversation with a friend, and also random people reaching out to me that I didn't feel that close to, but like kind of felt that connection. I don't know. Those things are what matters. And I encourage everyone to reach out to someone that you like. Just like say, hey, I like you. You're cool. And I just wanted to say hello. Like, you know, and I've had a couple girlfriends do that, and it's been really nice. So, yeah.
Yeah, instead of liking with a button, like with a conversation.
Yeah, let's connect. It's okay.
Yeah, I agree. Just, I think it's easy to get down about the like lack of things that are possible right now, but yeah, anytime anyone has sort of reached out or just even said, hey, like listen to something you did, or hey, that's really cool that you're doing that, even if they haven't, you know, engaged with it at all, it's like it means so much more, and it means a lot. Even just to have family members and friends, like I think about how I've consumed so much more music and so much more art in this time, and it's easy to have tunnel vision just kind of sitting in your house and having a weird relationship, I think, with making art, of thinking this is just a vanity project, or, you know, there's so much awfulness going on in the world, you know, what is this one little thing I'm doing, you know, why does that matter? But just to have that as a connection point with people has been, you know, has really helped me stay positive.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, kind of echoing what everyone has been saying, like just creating more interpersonal connections. Like, even though we can't be in person, I feel like I've actively been able to connect a little bit more with people. Like, hey, I have been a friend of yours and we've been in the same circle for years, but we've never actually had a conversation. Let's like schedule like a Zoom moment, you know? And for as tiring as Zoom can be and you know, internet stuff, like it has been a real saving grace. And yeah, like Allie, your live stream events, like that's why I started to get into making videos, and like kind of like what Heather was saying before about just like learning new skills. It's extremely empowering and just like really motivating. So even though we're all bogged down with a lot that's going on, it's cool to just be like, okay, I'm kind of putting in my 10 minutes a little bit every other day or so, just kind of getting a new skill and making more connections that way.
Yeah. I mean, I've been truly like so thankful that for the positive response of those live streams, because it's been one of those, like, kind of like Katie, how you were describing, like being in the studio and getting this idea of going to the roller rink and like shooting this, like, you know, huge project of a video. But it starts with like the idea and the courage to act on the idea. And the live stream shows were something like that, where I just was like, oh, my birthday's this week. Oh, what if I did like a Wes Anderson themed live stream and just put it out to everybody? And like getting response to those like little weird ideas like has kept me going and has kept me like, I mean, the thing that inspires me is like opportunities to bring people together and like, you know, just nudge it and see what they do, you know? And like, you know, so many like conversations with a lot of you guys too has just like kept me motivated and kept me going, because we're all human. We get stuck, and like sometimes we just need to unpack it together and see how we can refit it, you know?
Yeah. Allie, like you just putting the time to like put together those live streams and just, you know, the small projects that you're always working on and putting out there, like that's been really inspiring to me. And just to see other people putting in effort and like just trying to stay positive, like it makes me want to be positive. And it's like you sort of have an example of someone who's doing something really cool, and it's very motivating.
So next question, what's a piece of advice to give to other people that are watching to stay motivated or to help motivate the people around you so we can all flourish together? Like one big ear-flower garden.
I would say don't let your own thoughts get in your way. Just do it. Just do what you want to do.
Yeah, if it scares you, you probably do it.
Yeah.
Things will fall into place.
Self-care, ladies. Self-care.
Self-care is a great one, Ellen.
But yeah, I've been, I mean, you know, whatever advice I could give, I guess, just, you know, everybody's in their head. And so ultimately what you do is really like it's all you, baby. Like everyone's analyzing their own selves more than they're analyzing you. So just go for it, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we do have. Oh, did you want to answer, Allie? Sorry, we had a question. I was just gonna.
No, go ahead and bring in the question.
Freddie wants to know first time or studio experiences.
First time studio experience.
Mm-hmm. I can answer if you guys want a moment to think about that.
Sure, please do.
My first time I'll just go ahead and say Big Ego Studios, was with Alyssandra for her Nighswonger Meets Nilsson.
Sings Nilsson.
Sings Nilsson meets Nilsson. You also met Nilsson. You met his son through that album, which I think is really cool. But yeah, that's not what the album's called. But yeah, I got broken up with on my drive to that session, and I was in tears during that session. Right. And I was like, Heather, you need to get it together, because this is your first time meeting Chris Schlarb, and you don't want to be unprofessional, you know? And I remember sitting in the little kitchen area when we were on break, as I was kind of like crying, and I was like, Chris, how did you meet your wife? What do you think of love? And just got like right into it. And that sparked a lot of connections for like, you know, connections in that way. And then I eventually met his wife, and, you know, it was just all love. So sometimes it's not the worst thing when bad things happen. You can really build connections over that and take what you get and go with it, I guess. But yeah, that was pretty funny. Crying in the studio. Come on, who am I?
It's there's a safe space. The studio is it.
It's true.
I feel like mine is not super eventful. I just remember the first time I did go into a studio was the Bridge Recording Studio up in Glendale. And I just remember walking in and I'm like, wow, this is like the most fancy thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I can't believe I'm playing here. This is so cool. That's basically my story.
That's great.
It was so pretty.
My first time in a studio, my ex-boyfriend at the time was going to see his buddy about, you know, renting a room from him possibly, because he was looking for a new place to live. And we went to 17th Street Studio with Louis Richards, and we were just shooting the shit and having a good time. And then we talked about music, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a songwriter. And that's back in the like Fishbowl days. For older friends, I had this song called Fishbowl, which was just one chord, super beginner songwriter, and kind of doing my own quirky little thing. And he's like, oh, well, you should play it for me. Wait, if we don't record it, it didn't happen. And he put me in the vocal booth, and it was my first time in a studio in front of a microphone, letting it happen. And I played my song, and he really liked it, and we totally connected. And Louis is a super cool guy, and super chill. And, you know, it was kind of, there was a little momentum behind it, because he really liked the song, and he called me up later, and he was like, hey, like, I really liked your song. You mind if I show it to my friends? I'm like, sure. And he's like, my friends are producers. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then his friends wanted to sign me up for a production deal because they loved the song. And I had like just started songwriting, and we like went through and signed a contract, and then we had a couple sessions, and then it fell through because the producers got signed to a label that was more heavy duty rock, and I wouldn't fit the thing. But like, I felt like that whole thing like gave me permission to be a musician, gave me permission to like, hey, you can do it. Like, it's all about like writing something that makes that connection with someone that someone can appreciate. And like from there, like I remember being in the studio and like watching him on the computer manipulating like the EQ or something basic, but for someone that doesn't know what that is, I was like, what is he doing to my precious little baby songs? Like, you know, and there was that sense of anxiety of like not knowing what's going on the other end in the studio, which inspired me to like start taking recording classes and learning how it works and like finding other means. And if something falls through, it's like an opportunity to learn and grow. And like, you can't let a thing that falls through keep you from doing your next thing and like finding the next thing that's going to come up. So there's my first time in a studio.
Nice. It like built your whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
I love it.
My first time in a studio, I had to like, you know, like kind of go back in the little files of my mind. But I think the first time was I did if for those of you who have been to go to Cal State Long Beach, there's Beach Cafe, and I did with my friend Con, we performed Farewell Angelina by Bob Dylan. And not all the verses, but maybe like 5 of them, which is still a lot. But then the audio engineer, the main guy, and his name escapes me, but at the time, it was like 2009, he was like, yeah, how did you pick like the right verses? And I'm like, I don't know, but yeah, he wanted to record us in the school recording studio, and yeah, that was like the first time, and it was just fun, you know. But I mean, definitely sparked a love of just being in the studio. I mean, like, just like when you're in the recording studio, it just feels like warmth, and I love it. I love it so much. So yeah, that's me.
All right.
Yeah. Should we, well, I dropped everybody's links into the description on the YouTube. So if everybody wants to recap a little bit about projects coming up and what your goals are and how people can support you. And then after that, we'll go into our last musical surprise. And any final words you want to share with anybody?
All right.
So little final things.
Yeah, final things, how to follow you, what's your next thing for people to look forward to if you haven't mentioned it already, or, you know, a little small recap.
Keep on the lookout for my album, Hear Me. It's coming out, I think, next month, but we'll figure it out. But the Ebb and Flow song is on Bandcamp. If you follow me on Instagram, at @antycing, hey, it's in the bio. Click on the little Bandcamp little link there, and you can download it. And that's it for me, friends.
I guess I'll go next. My On the Run single is now on Bandcamp, so you can go in the link there and grab it. It's on my Instagram, Junatime. And yeah, on YouTube, I post new stuff all the time. I'd love for you to follow me. I only need 45 more followers to get to that, whatever that I can say /Junatime.
Nirvana.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so 45 people, we got you. Just kidding. Yeah. Woohoo. How about you, Katie Jo?
Yeah, like I said, the album will be out April 9th. So if you have been impacted by COVID and like me and just like to stream music, just follow me on Spotify. All the new stuff will be there. And if you would like a physical copy of the CD, you can pre-order that on my website, which sounds like an extremely vain URL, but katiejo.com was already taken when I registered my website, so it's thekatiejo.com. So
the other Katie Jo is just a Katie Jo. You're
a Katie Jo is out there. Yeah, I had to pick the most definitive article I could. So all the information is there. Yeah, follow me on social media. Posting updates there, and yeah, look out for the. I'm really proud of the next single that's going to come out. It's the title track of the record, so keep your ears out for that.
I also had to put the in my Instagram handle, Katie. So I'm at The Little Tree Music. So you can follow me there. My other one is personal. But I post it there as well. So if you follow, I try to put it on both. Like Ali said, the EP is available on Bandcamp. You can buy it. I put $7, but you can put whatever you want, and all the proceeds go to Black Lives Matter. Happily, I can say we've already raised $125, so I sent that off on the 28th of February. So yeah, I'm hoping to just kind of take that next step and get an album rolling out and get writing here. You guys are all inspiring me to write lyrics and get over myself. Talk about being self-conscious about something. So, yeah. So follow me on Instagram. If you don't want to donate, it's also on Spotify.
I guess I'll go. I have a YouTube. I'm 5 away, so thanks for subscribing.
Yeah.
Ooh, so close. And then I'll probably call it lnwark. Those are just some of the letters in my full name. And that's also my Instagram handle, lnwark. And it makes a lot of people misspell my email as inwark, but it's L as in lobster. and Anthony asked a great question about my origami, because I have a collection of origami. He said, what is your future regarding your origami and original songs? And Anthony and I are working on bringing back our kids music project.
Ooh.
So yeah, that we did a thing a few years ago with DVP doing some artwork, and we put out some songs, and I think we're working on those. And I've been back in the studio with Chris Schlarb, and there's actually like a jazz album we recorded. So this is making me want to poke Chris about that. I'm very excited about that. And it's just been such an honor to chill and make music with you all. You guys are amazing. And thank you everyone for supporting.
Yay.
Also, thank you everyone for watching. This is like so fun having you here. Yeah.
I like
and then
comments.
I'll just pipe in with my stuff real quick. So best place to find out what's going on is my website, AlyssandраNighswonger.com. I'll be doing another collaborative live stream variety show at some point in April with some sort of spring theme. I don't know what the theme is. I don't know what the date is, but it's coming. Then I have been diving back into the studio with Antoine Arvisu at the Compound, which I saw him here on the chat with a really wonderful album of my own original songs. It's like, I released Nighswonger Sings Nielsen. I released Rainbow Connection. It's really fulfilling to dive back into my own music. And I'm really excited to release that. I think I'm going to release it on vinyl because the Nielsen vinyl has been well received, and I have the vision. It's going to be blue. So, so yeah, follow me and I'll be posting more stuff about that. You can also download or buy my Nighswonger Sings Nielsen album. And Zach Nielsen actually passed away this week. He has had a long battle with cancer. And what I want to do for the next week is anyone who downloads or purchases the album, the full proceeds are going to go to City of Hope in honor of him. Because that was his favorite charity, and he was a really warm and wonderful person. So meeting him was super inspiring this year. He's someone who has been like really open, really welcoming, just a really wonderful person who just like welcomed anybody in, and was very approachable. The first time I met him was at Nielsen Sings Nielsen with Kifo Nielsen singing the whole thing at the point. And I saw Zach outside, and he was wearing a Nielsen Schmilsen shirt, and he said, "Hey, are we already friends on Facebook?" And then it was just totally open and great. And as he went through his whole journey over the past, like a little over a year with cancer, he was just very open about it and his whole experience to kind of like just share that and give that to people. And it was very selfless. And I don't know, this is sad thing to end on, but it's something I've been thinking about. I mean, sorry for bringing it down, but yeah. So I'm going to be donating to City of Hope for anybody that supports that album. But turning back to this event and the wonderful ladies in my life, we did a collaborative piece to see it out. We've all been talking about things to look forward to, and something to look forward to is the future. So we decided to do a cover of the Billie Eilish song "My Future." And take it away, Heather.
Yeah. So we weren't sure what song to pick when we said let's do a collaborative thing, and Allie had just heard the song. I don't think any of us had heard it yet, and the lyrics were just perfect. So I'm really excited to share this video with all these inspiring ladies, and just getting the chance to collaborate with all of you is just too great. I wish we could do it more often, but you know, we hustling, so. This song is sort of a love song to yourself, which I feel like we all need more of. So here we go. Let's just get right to it.
I can't seem to focus, and you don't seem to notice I'm not here. I'm just a mirror. You check your complexion to find your reflections all alone. I had to go. Can't you hear me? I'm not coming home. Do you understand? I've changed my plans, 'cause I'm in love with my future. Can't wait to meet her, and I'm in love, but not with anybody else. Just wanna get to know myself.
Hey.
I thought we were doing the cat thing.
We were gonna. It's got cut up.
Cat dog.
Okay. Well, I just want to take this moment to thank you ladies for joining with me and sharing and, you know, having these conversations, you know, and opening yourself up to everyone. And thank you to everyone who watched and tuned in and will continue to tune in to all the things you guys are going to put out there into the world. All right. I'm going to wave us out.
Thank you guys. Good night. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Bye.
Bernie said